Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles.
And my name is Kirk.
The NFC East over-unders. Part 4 of 8. Previewing the 2024 NFL season.
Yeah, it's been fun so far.
Yeah, and we're about to be halfway through here.
Yep.
We'll do the West and then the North.
West and North. North's most interesting this year.
Yeah, the North I'm looking most forward to. So, sorry you got to sludge through the East first.
But you know, everybody loves the NFC East. I mean, it's just so
That's
easy
true.
to talk about. The fan bases are awesome. So
Big, passionate fan bases. Big markets, always on prime time, always something to complain about.
Yep. You got America's team, and they've just been going through that cycle. Oh, we're going to win this year. Oh, we got disappointed. Oh, we're going to win this year. Oh, we're disappointed. And Philly's just, they're just so angry and passionate.
And the Giants in an absolute tailspin.
Yep, and New Yorkers letting them know.
Yep.
And Washington's got to be feeling good because they finally got rid of their owner.
I was going to say, good vibes from the last place team today. We did Panthers, bad vibes.
Yep.
We did Patriots, bad vibes.
Yeah.
We did
Titans,
bad vibes.
God.
Today, when we get to the end, good vibes.
Yeah,
good
I'll
vibes.
be feeling okay about it. Yeah.
But we go in order of the projected over-unders for the season. That means we start with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
11-6 last year, over-under of 10.5. But, of course, the big story is, well, first of all, that they finished 11-6 after starting 10-1.
Yeah, right. Such a disappointing end to that season.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew it the second they hired Matt Patricia. This thing was going downhill quick.
You don't bring in Matt Patricia
Never go full Patricia.
if things are going well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they just puttered out with just a pathetic wild card performance against the Buccaneers, a complete no-show.
Oh, yeah.
What happened? How did this happen? What?
It just became so predictable. I think Jalen Hurts was a little banged up, so his running capabilities weren't where it needed to be. The offense was just basically just a boring, rudimentary college offense, They weren't mixing things up at all, and it caught up to them.
Yeah, and I think, too, like, the 10-1 start was a little bit fluky.
Yeah,
I mean,
we said that the whole year. We're just
did,
it doesn't feel like they're undefeated. It doesn't feel like this.
The way they beat the Bills was wild.
Yeah.
Great Hurts day. But
Yep.
the way they beat the Chiefs, remember with Marcus Valdes-Scantling dropping that pass?
Yep.
The first time they beat the Cowboys, with the Cowboys out penalizing themselves.
Yep.
Like the Eagles are trying to give the Cowboys the game. The Cowboys are like, no, false start.
We refuse.
Personal foul. Yeah,
And they lost to the Jets. That was their one loss.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing that terrible pick at the end of the game that
Yeah.
just basically handed them the game.
Yeah, it was sort of like now everyone's talking 10-1, but finished 11-6. But really, the 10-1 wasn't real, and that's kind of the story.
end was definitely a story.
Yeah, but the team did quit. I mean that Bucs game was 32-9. That's being generous.
I mean,
that score, believe it or not, doesn't show how badly the Bucs beat the Eagles in the wild card game.
They slaughtered them. It was a no contest.
Yeah.
And, people at the end of the year were calling for Sirianni's head.
But
in classic Philly overreacting to everything.
But Sirianni successfully deflected to the point where I think the
He went to his boss and just started crying.
it's my coordinators. It's their fault. And that message has spilled out. The offense and defensive coordinators were the reason that the 2023 Eagles were nothing like the 2022 Eagles, and that is going to be put to the test this year.
Yes, it is.
Let's talk about offensive coordinator. And when we get to defense, we'll talk about defense coordinator. If this is the problem, then
they're giving it to Kellen Moore. They're saying he's going to call the plays. It's not Sirianni. I mean, and Kellen Moore, what has Kellen Moore really proven to us?
Honestly, it's very weird. Kellen Moore is the first, so he was offensive coordinator for the Cowboys about 3 years, right? Last couple years under Garrett.
Yeah.
First couple years under McCarthy.
Then he goes
Hot
to
name.
the Chargers.
Yeah, but he never became a head coach. Went to the Chargers last year
That was bad.
with Herbert. Horribly panned out.
Yep.
Why has he never got a head coaching chance? And why does he keep getting let go?
Yeah. And then why does he keep getting signed? Like, I just don't get it.
Do we have an Adam Gase situation on our hand?
Yeah.
Or
I feel like he is very good at talking to the ownership. I'm a little bit on the Adam Gase. I'm leaning towards that a little bit. I think he's competent enough. So, there is like talent there, but based on, I think it was a quote that Jalen Hurts said early in the offseason. He's like, yeah, Kellen Moore, it's like completely new offense.
Yeah.
The language is different. There's 95% of this is I haven't ran before. And I'm like, is that a good thing? I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point. Is that good?
Is that good for Jalen Hurts and his repertoire, or is it Kellen Moore's way or his way or no way?
This is a very hard thing to analyze, to discuss, and preview. Like, how much of what we've seen with Kellen Moore was him taking orders from Jason Garrett, from Mike McCarthy, from Brandon Staley last year, and how much is his fault? And when I hear Jalen Hurts learning a completely new offense, I don't exactly think good things.
I don't either. It concerns me, but there are so many friggin' weapons. Like, you can't screw it up this bad. Like, everybody's good.
A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley.
Boom, baby.
The offensive line is still elite. They lost Jason Kelce.
Lost Kelce, but that's it, right?
That's it. And they have probably the best Hall of Fame replacement plan I have ever seen. They drafted a Jason Kelce type physical body player named Cam Jurgens in the second round last year.
Yep.
Jurgens learned from Kelce in 2022. Okay, so 2 years ago. Learned from Jason Kelce, directly backed him up in 2022, and then last year started next to him at right guard.
Yeah.
So he's going into his third year. He's taking over the center position. He seems to be pretty, a lot of potential and stuff. Like, that's about as good of a replacement plan as you can have, in my opinion, at least on paper.
Yeah, it's Jordan Love taking over for Rodgers.
Plan. Cam Jurgens taking over for Jason Kelce.
Just with linemen.
Yeah. And the rest of the line is like, there's still like 3 all-pro level players there. Dickinson, Mailata, Lane Johnson. So,
I mean, this is still a good team, but it always falls on the shoulders of, is Jalen Hurts actually good?
Yeah.
That's always been my concern, because coming out of college, me and you were both just like, dude, this guy sucks when it comes to actual competition.
I thought he'd be an actual true bust.
Yeah.
He's already proven me wrong on that case.
Him going to the Super Bowl was shocking to me. Almost won the dang thing.
Should have. They had a great game. He did, and so did the Eagles.
But, I think last year banged up a little bit. The shoulder's been a problem for a couple of seasons now, so you're worried about that.
Yeah.
But as long as this guy can make good reads, like, hopefully Kellen Moore helps him out and just has good, simple, obvious decisions to make, he can win ball games for you.
Throw it to A.J. Brown.
Yeah, right? Throw it to A.J. Brown as much as you can and just give it to Saquon.
Yeah. And you got Devonta Smith, too. There's some weapons here.
Just run a stretch play for once. The Eagles Jalen Hurts has never ran a stretch play in his whole damn life. Just seriously, just give it to the guy, let him go to the corner, and just make a read from there. We don't need to do read option every single play.
Right, simplay it a little bit.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like Kellen Moore's MO, though. Thinking about Dak and all those years, like, weren't we always just like, why isn't it just going to Cooper and Dez?
Why don't we just pounding CeeDee Lamb, like they did last year without Kellen Moore? So, there's definitely concerns. Is Jalen Hurts actually good, and is Kellen Moore the answer as offense coordinator? And Philly's going to let you know real soon.
Yeah.
When those games start, and if Kellen Moore ain't getting it done on offense, he's gone mid-season. They will fire him.
This is such a risk. I agree with you completely. The coordinators were the problem. They have done this whole PR thing, and they've got most of the Eagles fan base on board. It's the coordinators, and now you have Kellen Moore, now you have Vic Fangio. Don't worry, you're okay. If that's not going well, October 10th,
gone.
There's going to be some heads rolling.
They're gone. They're going to boo the crap out of them.
Yeah. Heck yeah. And deservedly so.
Oh, yeah.
I would be with them.
I do.
Yeah.
I like Philly for this because they do overreact to everything. But usually it is a proper...
Yeah. They're a smart sports town.
Yeah. The analysis of it is good. This is a problem. But the overreaction is off with its head.
Yeah.
That's their problem.
I love how these cities have these characteristics. Philadelphia is smart but overreactive. New York is just really, really expectant.
Oh, yeah.
They're also very smart. San Francisco, idiots.
Bandwagon fans.
Drinking red wine and doing the wave while you're on offense.
Right. Morons.
Idiots. Let's talk about the other coordinator. Defense.
Vic Fangio.
Vic Fangio comes in from Miami, where the players said he was too hard on them. Where Fangio basically said they're soft. He's back home. He always wanted to be in Philadelphia. I think Tyreek Hill made a tweet, or what do we call him now? X. X.
Yeah, I don't know. Still call them tweets, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he sent a tweet and said basically, there was rumblings always that Fangio wanted to go home to Philadelphia or whatever. So
why is Tyreek Hill tweeting this out?
That's a great question. I do not know.
What the heck?
But he comes in. They're getting him kind of after the shine. Fangio's defensive coordinator system ultimately caught fire in the league. He was the copycat from the 2018 Bears until really I think now the Mike McDonald Ravens offenses or defense is going to start to take over.
Yeah.
But he's still competent.
I do like Fangio. And I think that these Eagles, they're young, they've drafted, they put some capital into these guys. Mm-hmm. They do need to work. They do need to be pushed hard.
Yeah.
They came into the league and they're like, oh, Jalen Carter, you're clearly going to be one of the best defensive tackles this league's ever seen.
Yeah.
Why? You got to work. You got to adapt to the NFL game.
Both those big Georgia beefs in the middle, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis.
Yep.
The line on them is that they got tired last year.
Yeah.
They need to be pushed.
And the team is theirs now.
Yeah.
They got to get it done or else they're not going to be a good defense.
And they directly addressed the biggest problem in the draft. They spent the first-round pick, second-round pick on corners.
Good idea.
They still have Slay and Bradbury, but now Slay and Bradbury, they're getting older. There's just some depth there. You can never have too many.
Yeah. They brought back C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yes,
that was smart.
That's big.
Yeah.
Bring back your Super Bowl, really kind of secret sauce.
You missed them last year.
Yeah. Because last year, they were 30th in points allowed, and most of that was roasted through the air.
Yeah.
It was just all game.
Couldn't stop anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just do what you want at will.
So yet again, everything looks great on paper.
I know. This team on paper looks like one of the best teams in the league. Top 5 guaranteed. They should be in a championship game competing for the Super Bowl on paper.
Yeah. So over under 10.5. What do you think?
Man, oh man.
I can give you mine first if you want.
Yeah, you go first.
I'm going over.
You're going over.
I'm saying the coordinator moves are good. They're good PR moves, and they're going to kind of get the players back on board. The roster's too good to fall below what they were last year. I think last year was the bottom performance that a roster this stacked could do. And remember, 11 wins is now 11-6, not 11-5. I don't think the Eagles lose 7 games, so I'm going over.
They won 11 last year, and that was the bottom, I guess.
That was the bottom. Yep.
I think I am going to go over. And this is definitely a playoff team. Mm-hmm. I mean, it absolutely should be. Saquon is probably going to have his best career as in his career.
Yeah.
As long as he stays healthy.
Giants fans, sorry.
I mean, Saquon's never had, an open box. You got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to worry about. So I think Saquon's going to have a good season. Jalen Hurts his scrambling is just going to be another little factor to him. As long as he can cut back on the turnovers a little bit. Yeah, I think 11 sounds, at least that sounds proper.
I like what you're saying. Another roll of the dice of the Hurts health this season. I think that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Really, both of the last 2 years, he's kind of got dinged up at the end.
Yeah. Don't have to run this much this year. He's got Saquon, which is a huge upgrade over Devontae Smith.
Or Devon Smith's still on the team.
DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
Without Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox, though, that's just a little bummer for me.
Yeah.
I love watching Hall of Fame players. They're gone now. I had it written down. I wanted to throw it out.
Shout them out. They're Hall of Famers. Put them in.
Yeah. Absolutely. And they won't have to go to Brazil for the first game.
God, that's stupid.
And the Eagles are the ones with the home game. So it's their home game, 4,754 miles away in Brazil.
Ugh. Against Green Bay, who you might see in the playoffs. That sucks. That just sucks. NFL screwed that up. Man, that's a scheduling guff I will not get over.
Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys 12-5 last year, 12-5 the last 3 years.
Oh.
Yet the over/under here is 9.5.
Wow.
So we're seeing a dip on expectations for the Cowboys, largely and certainly affected by the fact that Mike McCarthy stays. His 3 years in a row of puttering out in the playoffs have just been befuddling. It's weird.
How did this guy not get fired? I'm still confused. We've gone
Probably the 3 12-5 seasons.
the whole offseason. I'm like, yeah, 12-5, 12-5, 12-5, but like, he did nothing with it.
And it's like it's the characteristics of the 3 playoff losses. It's not heartbreak like Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
And it's not like overpowered. Like you think about the Steelers, they keep getting in the playoffs, but they're like completely outgunned once they get here. The Cowboys just show up in the playoffs and they just like call conservative and get all these penalties, and they're having meltdowns, yelling at each other. It's weird.
Feels like everything they did in the regular season doesn't matter, and they just completely changed the game plan for the playoffs. The first one was a heartbreak, though. That was the Dak Prescott couldn't get the spike off.
Oh, they could have won. No, but that was also the Jimmy Garoppolo game where he kept throwing interceptions, and the Cowboys just could not take the game.
Yeah.
So while yes, it was heartbreak at the end, they should have won that game by 30 points.
Yes. Yeah. And McCarthy's not a good coach. I've been saying it since they hired him. I mean, this guy won a Super Bowl, and it wasn't because of him.
Yeah, right.
Because Green Bay had built a dang good defense, had a young Aaron Rodgers who came in.
Yeah.
I mean, this was not Mike McCarthy's doing. So, I mean, I'm just shocked that he's still a coach.
He's on the last year of his contract. When Jerry Jones announced that, he was feeling a little defensive, and he told the press during the Super Bowl, the Cowboys are all in.
Jerry had a few too many to drink. Because whatever he did on the offseason was not all in.
I was thinking at the time, like, hire Bill Belichick or trade for Stephon Diggs or add Brian Burns to Micah Parsons. When I think of all in, I think trade Dak and a decade of first-round picks for Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
All in. I'm like, go get Burns and get Christian Wilkins to go with Micah Parsons. It was like, that's what I thought. Yeah.
And the question he was asked was, I wrote it down because it was directly, is there any chance of, hey, we need to go all in this year? Is there focus or thought process of putting all the chips in to put a winner on the field, including what you do in free agency? That was the question.
Including
Jerry,
what you do in free agency.
Exactly. Now the Cowboys starting to spin it like, hey, we're always all in. We always go right to the top of the salary cap. It's like, dude, you know what you meant. Jerry even said, like, he was like, we're not building for the future. That's what he said that.
Yeah.
Now they're spinning it back.
And they did nothing. Like, out of all the teams, they did the least. And I guess that's all in. You think, let's go 12-5 again and see if we can win a playoff game? I mean,
they lost Tyron Smith. They lost Tony Pollard.
Yep.
They let Stephon Gilmore go. Gallup's gone. Didn't sign anybody. I remember on that magazine there that you got, like, the 4th key edition is Royce Freeman. Didn't even know he was still in the league.
The key edition.
Running back bust from like 2018.
That is the fewest, that guy never makes it on anybody else's team chart as key edition.
That's what I was thinking.
And I think, if you're going all in, dude, like, you definitely needed to get a better running back. If you're going to let Pollard go, you just bring back old Zeke.
Oh, but he's the leading scorer.
Oh, come on.
No, I know. I don't believe in Zeke.
Zeke's getting 3 yards a carry like the last 4 years. Like, this guy's not getting it done.
I agree.
He's just been a little pudgy, little out of shape. He got paid. He's done. Maybe he wants to go chase a ring right now, but I question how much he actually wants it.
Yeah.
And his backup is Dowdle and Royce Freeman, for crying out loud. They didn't draft any running backs.
Nope.
So, like, I don't know what they're doing. Deuce Vaughn?
Yeah.
Like, what happens when Elliott gets hurt? I mean, the glare.
Deuce Vaughn's like 5'6".
And this team could absolutely fall off a cliff this year.
I could see
They are dangerously close.
I'm worried about it.
There's
just
only
talking here.
one person that needs to get hurt, and this team's over. No.
Oh, just like one star.
Just one.
Dak or Parsons or
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee
Lamb goes down. This team's done. What's Dak going to do without CeeDee Lamb? What's that running game going to do without CeeDee Lamb?
Good point.
Like, they absolutely peppered CeeDee Lamb. The peppered lamb of last year was working.
Yeah.
It tasted good. It tasted great. But if you lose CeeDee Lamb, it's over. Like, you got nothing. I think you can lose Dak and even still, like, put up some wins. The defense will hold you afloat. But if you lose that number one option, you got nobody to back that up. Don't give me that Brandon Cooks crap, Dallas. I'm not holding up with that. Anybody that's had Brandon Cooks gets sick of having Brandon Cooks. Like, that's guaranteed.
You already had your Brandon Cooks honeymoon. Prepare for the other part.
Yeah, he's gone. Sorry.
Cooper Rush is still there as backup quarterback, and they could hold together a little bit with him.
Yeah. You lose CeeDee Lamb, this team's winning 6 games. Like, it could get that ugly.
God, it's a good roster still. It just not better than last year's roster. And with the all-in PR, it's a bad misstep. I feel like the Cowboys, their window has passed. And you know what? They never go all in. And they've, to their credit, put together 10 years of really good rosters here.
Yeah.
So they are doing the same thing that has brought them success. They've barely done anything in free agency in the last 10 years. They always take the safe picks in the draft. They've had good rosters. It's just the optics of this from people like your and I's perspective, where we're trying to preview the team and we're like, where's the step up here? I don't see it. I see a step down.
Yeah. The teams have to change and adapt, and this team didn't do anything. Their all-in was good enough last year. We should have won.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't work like that. They got all the tape on what you did last year.
Yeah.
You haven't changed a dang thing.
They lost.
How do you expect it to work again?
They lost a lot, including defensive coordinator Dan Quinn.
Yes.
Over to coach the Commanders here. They bring in Mike Zimmer, who, of course, had a lot of success. Right. I don't know if we can hear Waylon get in the bath, but Zimmer, a lot of success with the Bengals in the late 2000s, early 2010s.
I know.
Vikings coach.
I don't like the hire though.
Yeah, he's an old school thumper. He used to be defensive coordinator for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
in the late 90s.
And they brought him back.
Yeah,
because Jerry Jones didn't know who else to hire. Let me call an old buddy.
That's always a bad sign.
Yeah.
That's a bad sign. We were just talking about Belichick. He couldn't get any new coaching hires.
I think Jerry Jones is kind of losing it here. And
I mean, he is 81.
Yeah.
He's going through his Al Davis.
Maybe.
Yeah, because Al Davis, I remember that's not even an insult.
No.
Al Davis, Raiders owner for 3 decades, absolutely excellent running a team.
Oh, yeah.
But there was no one who could overrule him. And when he lost his mind, the Raiders lost. They plummeted into really bizarre places. They ended up with Jamarcus Russell.
Darius Hayward
Bay. And the Cowboys, is there anyone who can take Jerry's grip off of this? When he was...
I don't think so, because he's hired a bunch of yes men.
A bunch of yes men. There was he really wanted to draft the running back Brooks. I can't remember his first name.
Oh, the Texas guy?
Round, yeah. And Jerry's just blabbing about him in the pre-second round press conference. And all his scouts and Jerry's son are like, shut the hell up.
Quit telling him our secrets.
He's losing it.
Yeah.
He may be losing it.
I think he's lost a grip. Cowboys didn't change enough this year. I'm concerned because Mike McCarthy's not a good enough coach to get these guys to get going.
Oh, boy.
I mean, when you first said the number, I was
9.5.
I was like, come on, they got to be able to pull that off. I'm going under.
Wow. Okay.
This is gonna be a shocker. I'm sorry, Dallas. I think most likely you probably can go 10-7, but I think something this season is gonna crack.
Okay.
It's gonna crack, and you're gonna have to be like, do we keep Dak? This next offseason is gonna be brutal for you.
Man, I want to join you in the under. But I feel like they lowered it to the right number.
Come to the dark side.
They lowered it. You know what?
Under. Let's go.
This is a powder keg. You're right.
Yes.
The NFL doesn't work in gradualizations. No. We rip on the media for pretending like every team in the playoffs last year is going to be in the playoffs this year. One of these five of these teams are going to collapse. The Cowboys are one of them.
They're going down. And Micah Parsons is going to be pissed because he runs his mouth.
Yeah.
And,
I love Micah Parsons.
Dak, they haven't given him a contract. I don't know. I mean, I think
Cowboys
down season makes sense because they've done this too. I mean, the Cowboys, the fans always talk about it. You know, they're just like, they forget these seasons.
Yeah.
Where Tony Romo got hurt and they went 4-12. You know,
Yeah.
there's just little seasons like this where you're just like, we've always been good. We've always had a chance to win. No, you have some seasons that really
Got
suck.
some bad ones.
So,
But they always come in with the hype. They sell their tickets. They sell their
Yep,
merch.
yep.
I mean, I feel like the all-in statement was a way to sell merch, to be honest.
yeah. And I do like the Cowboys fans. They annoy me sometimes, but I appreciate the loyalty to your team. And they're all over the place. There's
Yeah.
Cowboys fans just all over the country. So
I definitely like the Cowboys fans are smart fans.
Yeah.
We were talking about the Eagles and the Cowboys. This whole division is just a really sophisticated, I mean,
they get it. They get football. They've been, in there for decades
Yeah.
and decades and decades.
there's a subreddit called NFL East Meme War.
Ooh.
People who know football are making good jokes in there.
Yeah.
You have to have the cynical, miserable outlook on life to post those memes. Props to you all, my brothers.
Dark humor and just the wit of it all.
I could see this. Oh man, the Micah Parsons, Mike Zimmer thing too. That could be a powder
That
keg.
could be a clash.
You know, when the headmaster of Hogwarts is too strict.
Yeah.
You know, when things are going wrong. There's a lot of powder kegs here.
And they've been overrating Deron Bland. Who,
Yeah.
sure, he got a lot of pick sixes, but the second half of the season,
Okay, I'm even more happy about my under because I didn't even get to say one of my things. For once, Dak Prescott is going to play without an elite offensive line for the first time in his 8-year career.
yeah.
Under.
I love it. We're both down on the Cowboys. They are going 14-3, going to win this division.
Win the Super Bowl
Whenever
this year.
we agree upon something, it doesn't go too well.
Last year, I
sometimes.
picked them to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, all right.
Wait, did I pick them to win? I know I picked them to be in it.
I think you had them losing to the Bills.
Okay, yeah.
For sweet
for
justice.
sweet victory.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sweet justice.
Didn't work out.
No. All right, let's go to the New York Giants. 6-11 last year. They have a 6.5 over/under this year. They're in year 3 of the Brian Dable, Daniel Jones situation. Made the playoffs in 2022 divisional round. They decided our rebuild is going really well. Kind of kept with all.
Let's keep it going.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
And they fell straight on their face.
Oh, seriously, the first half of that season was hard to watch.
When they didn't score a point for the first.
No touchdowns for until the second half of week 3, I think.
Yeah, no, it's a second of a week 2. I think it was a Cardinals game.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah,
They didn't
I
score a
see it.
point for 6 quarters.
Yeah. It was ugly. Daniel Jones looked like a joke. How did you pay that guy that much money? It was hard to watch.
Yeah.
And when he got hurt, it was like sweet mercy for Daniel Jones.
And it's still not even clear what his injury was before the ACL. He got what they call a stinger type of injury. So we don't even really know. I will say this. Daniel Jones already his contract is over. They can get out after this year. I know everyone made fun of them last year for signing Daniel Jones to a 4-year contract, but that's agent speak propaganda on Twitter.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. It's really a 2-year deal, and the Giants can absolutely opt out, basically.
And this is basically his prove-it year. So the real
Right back to it.
The real question is, are we Daniel Jones believers? And
How could you be?
I'm not. Really, I'm not. I was shocked when they gave him the contract.
Yeah. He's never been bad enough to be a joke, but he's never proven anything. It's...
Yeah.
I would call him an average quarterback if he was more consistent. I think he's actually just a little bit below average.
And he gets the scapegoat of, we don't have any weapons. We don't have any receivers. We don't have any tight ends. We can't work with this.
Yeah.
No, it's not Daniel Jones' fault because we don't have an offensive line and we don't have anybody to throw
And they have
to.
had horrible offensive lines.
Yeah.
So I'll give him that.
Which I'm okay with. But I don't know. Whenever I think of Daniel Jones, I think of him face planting when he's wide open on that run against the Eagles.
Great play.
What the heck was that? And I know that was years ago.
That was a 60-yard gain, Kirk.
No, but he tripped over a line. Come on, man. That's awful. I've never seen any other NFL player do that.
It's very funny.
I just don't think he's an accurate enough quarterback. He is mostly mobility. He is a poor man's Josh Allen, which is not where you want to be. You don't want to be an inaccurate, I can only scramble quarterback. Especially, when you don't really have that many people to to catch the pass.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's saying Malik Neighbors, fantastic rookie, picked 6th overall.
I'm into Malik Neighbors.
They think he's going to save the day. But there's still nobody else besides Malik Neighbors. It's the only guy you really got to throw to, and you lost Barkley.
That sucks. I wish they had Barkley.
Oh, yeah.
Because I might be a little more hyped for them. The offensive line was so bad last year. It feels like it's about to get better. Of course, we're doing that team preview catnip thing here where we're saying they brought in some veteran guards. They do have 2 tackles, highly drafted.
Yeah.
Andrew Thomas has started to get better.
They've got to prove it this year.
Yeah, but he if he's healthy, he's going to be one of the best tackles. Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal, he's got to prove it. He is absolutely
he's been on bust mode. So
but it's year 3, and as the line gets healthier overall, that tends to improve the performance. If they could get medium play out of their offensive line, Malik Neighbors comes in and be's the superstar that I think he can be. I love Malik Neighbors. It's part of my calculations why I don't love Jaden Daniels or Brian Thomas Jr. because Malik Neighbors he was the main guy in LSU. If you make Neighbors wide receiver 1, Slayton's a good wide receiver 2.
Slayton can pull it off.
You make Hyatt instead of a wide receiver 2. You make him a deep threat wide receiver 3. I start to like it. I don't know. I don't know. I might be warming up a little bit.
There's pieces. I mean, they're still raw. You haven't really seen it come together.
Yeah,
you're putting a lot of faith in Dable as the head coach here.
I'm putting a lot of faith in the offensive line for no reason.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this has got to be Daniel Jones' year. He's got to pull it off this year.
It's another contract year for him.
It's a contract year. He's got to go back to the playoffs, or at least be like in that contention all the way till the end.
Yeah.
Like he's got to win some games.
Last year, yeah.
And he's gonna have chances because this defense is good.
I like the defense on paper looking very good.
They're gonna hold him in some games.
Yeah,
like this team can pull it off.
The Giants' defensive line has superstars across the board.
Dexter Lawrence, fantastic. Mm-hmm. That's where it all starts. What do you got?
Kayvon
Thibodeau, who's drafted. He guy's kind of a nut, but he can do it. Obviously, they traded for Brian Burns. That was a steal.
Yep.
And
elite defensive end.
Yeah, and Jordan Phillips.
Yeah.
From Miami. That's great. Mm-hmm. Like he's going to be able to that front 4 right there.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Just pound him in the mouth. Like they're going to have pressure every single down.
Yeah, and they get the new coordinator who's going to use that to his advantage.
Yes, new coordinator coming from Tennessee, and there's only been one good thing in Tennessee. It has been battle of the trenches on defense.
Yeah.
They shut down the run.
I think Giants fans are excited to hear the coordinator say, like, my history is we're going to try and rush with the front 4.
Yeah,
not fancy blitzing like Wink Martindale. The strength of the Giants team is a strength that the Giants fans must be very, very sentimental and nostalgic for.
Yeah.
A front 4 who ruins a season by being so good. They've done that twice, 2007 and 2011. They've done that.
Yeah, and you can argue back to Lawrence Taylor winning in his days. Like when they win Super Bowls, it's because the front 4 is getting it done.
Yeah.
So let's go back to that philosophy.
That would help. The secondary is young. But that would help. That would help. You get another guy back.
They lost Xavier McKinney, which that hurts my soul. But
there's holes in the roster, which is why the over/under is 6.5.
Man, 6.5? That's really low.
It is.
Holy crap!
It is. I'm going over. Man. It feels like you're about to go over too.
Yeah, that's an easy bet.
I buy a little bit that the offensive line will be better. Just some natural progression, some injury luck for the Giants this year as opposed to last year. Their whole team was in the freaking hospital, it seemed like. I don't know.
Right. But I'm telling you, those first 6 games were hard.
Yeah. They
beat them down.
They got decimated last year. And the defense, I mean, the defensive line is a type of thing that can win you games in ways that aren't always on the stat sheet.
Yeah. This is one of those teams where you just like forget that they went to the playoffs 2 years ago and made it to the divisional round.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure they got crushed by the Eagles, but like they were showing progress. Injuries decimate them. They had a very, very tough beginning of the schedule last year. They got smoked. But they're coming back with a lot of the same things. They've got rid of a little of the fat. And I like what they've been doing, GM wise, and I like Dable. Dable's a good coach. He is like you gotta have some respect for him. I mean, it just depends on how much you actually think Daniel Jones is going to pull off. He can at least get him 7 wins. 6.5 is low. That's insulting.
Well, I'm glad I'm glad. That seems like an easy bet to me.
Yeah.
That's a good over.
I could see him getting 8, maybe 9. Like, I see him in at least contention for a playoff spot.
I could see myself going in super hype mode for the Giants. If Daniel Jones has a good September.
Yep. And
Just by the way that we started by ripping Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah.
We were very down on Jones. We were saying the Giants are screwed. They're tied to this guy. And we slowly talked through the rest of the weapons. And maybe the offensive line is better and the defensive line is good. And now we're kind of like here. And I think if Daniel Jones comes out and puts up some numbers early, we might be like frothing at the mouth going, Giants are going to win the division.
If Malik Neighbors is a superstar, yeah, dude, like this could be
I love
something.
Neighbors.
Yeah.
God, I love Neighbors.
And I think I forgot about Slayton. I'm glad you mentioned him.
Yeah.
Because he's actually a good, he's a wide receiver too. He's been having to play as a wide receiver.
Yeah,
one.
struggling to do that. Yeah.
So I like him as a complementary role. He knows the system. He knows Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can see this working out a little bit.
Okay.
I can see this team at least in contention. They're not just bottom dwellers. Like everybody's just treating them like they're just going to be absolutely decimated.
6.5 is surprisingly low.
Yeah.
For example, 6.5 is what the Washington Commanders have, which makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because they're a team in complete rebuild. But I think, like we said at the start, good vibes. We've gotten rid of Daniel Snyder.
Yep.
Josh Harris, who was a Redskins fan in his childhood and presumably as a young man enjoyed the 82, 87, 91 Super Bowls. He's the owner now.
Yeah.
He also owns his Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils.
Okay.
Really enjoys that triangle
and he's
between New York, Philadelphia, and
he's
DC.
very used to rebuilding.
The process.
Trust the process.
The process for the Commanders, luckily, is not tank your team to get number one draft picks that suck, but accrue picks.
Yeah.
It seems like that's the Commanders' strategy. I didn't like their Jaden Daniels pick. You know, I'm not a Jaden Daniels believer.
Yeah.
But I did like that they had so many mid-round picks and they spent them all and they just kind of beefed up a little bit.
Just the depth everywhere raised. And they signed a ton of guys too.
Yeah.
They just completely overhauled this team. They got rid of the trash and they brought in what they wanted. And they did it quickly.
Yep.
I like that.
Brought in Dan Quinn, who, by the way, is a Super Bowl head coach.
Yep.
People forget.
He was up 28-3 against the Patriots. That was Dan Quinn.
No one ever blames Dan Quinn for that.
Always blame Shanahan.
Always Kyle Shanahan. People don't even remember Dan Quinn. And, of course, he's been with the Cowboys last 3 years, turning around that defense. So this is even a potentially sweeter opportunity for the Commanders. Anything you can do to dig into the Cowboys would be sweet.
Yeah, I like that. Just that little jab, a little stab in the back. I think that's fantastic.
But now we got to talk about Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. So you don't got much faith in Jaden Daniels, huh?
I don't.
Comparison quarterback wise, like Justin Fields or something, like
RG3. Ooh. I compare him to RG3.
So he'll do good this year.
Yeah. If he has a Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Matt LaFleur on the coaching staff, I think he'll do great.
Which he doesn't. He's got Cliff Kingsbury.
And Mike McDaniel, I think. Yeah. I guess, okay, so 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in college. Good for him.
Yeah.
That season shouldn't have existed. It's his second senior season. If we judge Jaden Daniels by his first senior season, 17 touchdowns in the season.
Okay.
Not that great. That would have been the end of his career if not for COVID. Like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. Yeah. Jaden Daniels as what he should have been in the NFL, but he got to play one more college year, and he throws a bunch of touchdowns. He damn well should be. He should be doing that.
Yeah.
And he's such a run first, one read or run guy. It's the most, you watch the LSU games, Malik Neighbors is a superstar. Thank God that one read is always open because Malik Neighbors is a freaking beast. Back to the Giants preview there. And that's not going to happen in the NFL. Even if you have Terry McLaurin, they're not going to have that talent disparity.
Okay.
I just don't like Jaden Daniels, and I don't like Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh, yes. God, that was the worst hire.
I'm not feeling this.
Yeah, they need to fire him already.
Are you?
I'm not a Kingsbury fan, man.
We can talk about Kingsbury in a minute, but are you more of a Jaden Daniels fan than I'm saying?
I'm not as big of a hater as you are, I guess. I think he can figure it out. I don't think he's going to be like legitimately good. I do like young, mobile quarterbacks that just don't know any better. It's really hard to game plan against early on in their careers because you're just like, I don't know what to do with this guy. He's doing unconventional things.
You could see him sparking.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields had a year. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
It just kind of happens. Sometimes you just don't know what to do. I don't think his career is going to be great. Once you get some film on this guy and what he's doing, they're gonna figure out some tendencies and weaknesses that are really going to plague him. This year and the next year, I can see him doing some funky things that actually pay off, especially because you have Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
I mean, Terry McLaurin has got some fantastic stats with some awful quarterbacks. This guy,
he played hurt last year.
This guy
should be back.
Wonderful.
And Johan Dotson flashed.
Yes, right? So he's got weapons. He's got Brian Robinson, the running back that got shot in the leg.
Yeah, and Eckler's there.
I
don't care about that.
He's too old. Yeah. He'll be there for the check down.
Yeah.
Poor Eckler, man. Yeah. But I do like the weapons around him. I don't think the offensive line is like a dumpster fire or anything. So definitely the worst part of this offense is Jaden Daniels. So you need to work on the guy that you drafted. It's kind of where you want to be when you're rebuilding an offense and a team. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Is their offensive line trash? I think it's okay.
I have no idea. I don't even know any of these players.
I mean, I think
what rating do they have on the little thing there?
Where am I at?
So offensive line, go back to the next page there.
Offensive line rating 6.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
Yeah. I mean, we know this team has holes. They are in a full rebuild. They traded 2 pass rushers last year just for picks because they knew that this was part of the thing. Cliff Kingsbury though makes me
worried. I'm blaming some of that rating on Sam Howell. Last year.
I would agree. I would agree with you. He was a bad pocket presence guy.
He said he got sacked 65 times, but I think that was on Sam Howell most of the time.
A lot of them were. No, I completely agree with that. Howell was a hold on to the ball, but his job was to huck and chuck, frankly.
Yeah.
That's what they did last year.
That's all they had.
Yeah, all they had. Okay.
But with Cliff Kingsbury.
It's time to rip on Cliff Kingsbury, please.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I can't believe this guy got a job already.
It absolutely, context around his career makes no sense. He's being called this college wonder kid. He coached Baker Mayfield, not in Baker's Heisman season.
Nope.
A different one. A worse one. He coached Caleb Williams, not in Caleb's Heisman season. A different one.
Yep.
A worse one. Why was Pat Mahomes not the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft? Cliff Kingsbury coached him, and everybody, every GM, every story is like, we saw through the rough and we saw the diamond that was Pat Mahomes on a losing team in Texas Tech. And whose rough was that? It's Cliff Kingsbury's.
Right?
He was the head coach. How is he getting jobs? Arizona fans will absolutely pop onto the podcast. Arizona fans, come on in.
Rip
come on in.
'em.
What's this guy's problem? He can't adjust.
Yep.
Say it with me, everybody. He can't adjust. He can't adjust. That's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. That's a bad coach. He's getting all his credentials on Baker, Caleb, and Mahomes in college, and Kyler Murray, who the Kyler DeAndre Hopkins years were great in Arizona.
Yeah.
Never amounted to a top 10 offense. Why not? Because they plummeted at the end of the year. And that's coaching. That's Cliff Kingsbury. Why do you have Cliff Kingsbury on your staff?
I love it. I friggin' love it. He's a joke. I cannot believe he got hired.
All right.
I really cannot believe he got hired.
I'm glad you're with me.
Anybody that watched Hard Knocks in the season with Arizona.
Oh, I didn't watch that. It was bad?
Dude, it's just like, this guy didn't know. He had no respect to the team.
Which season was it?
It was the year Kyler got hurt.
Oh, okay. 2022?
Yeah.
Okay.
The year before he got fired.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was getting fired that season. They just played it out. You can tell he had no control of the locker room. You can just tell the players did not respect what he's saying. He just kept asking people, okay? Yeah? Okay? We got that? Okay. Yeah, let's go get him, guys. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, what? This guy's the head coach?
Yikes.
It just seemed like he phoned it in. I'm just like, I don't know. There's just something about him, and him not adjusting is the calling card.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
whatever he comes
crystal
out
clear across his resume.
Whatever he comes out with in week 1 is what he will run all the way till week 18. That's going to be a problem, and it's not going to help Jaden Daniels, who's going to have to improvise a lot.
And Dan Quinn's not going to help him. That's not Dan Quinn's forte.
Yeah, Dan Quinn's all focused on the defense.
So yeah, like what's going to happen here?
I feel like the ownership was like, yeah, let's just have like 2 head coaches.
Yeah.
You know, and then we'll just kind of have Dan Quinn and the defense be the main one, and we'll just have the Cliff do the offense, and then we'll just kind of balance it out from there.
The best
they got some work to still do.
Yeah. And I'm not too pumped about the defense, even though I like Dan Quinn, but you can't just tag the defense as a Dan Quinn defense now and say it's great.
Yeah, it's not there yet. I do like that he brought in a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of coaches from the Cowboys
that he wanted. He's got coaches, defensive lineman coaches, secondary coaches. He brought in underrated players from other people's teams, especially from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Brings in Wagner because he wants to run the defense that he wants to run. I mean, defensively, you will see this team improve.
Yeah.
Offensively, I think you are going to slowly fade the whole season. How that plays out in wins and losses, I'm not exactly sure yet, but it's not going to be like super pretty. I'm not like up on this team like I was with the Giants.
Yeah, 6.5, same over under as the Giants. I think I'll take the under on that.
You going under?
I'm not as bullish on the defense as you. I think just like, okay, Dan Quinn led one of the greatest defenses of all time, the Legion of Boom, 2013-14 Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
And then he went to head coach the Falcons, where the defense wasn't good.
Yeah.
We've already seen him go from defensive coordinator to head coach, and not like you can't just, like I said, you can't just tag the defense Dan Quinn and call it good. I think it takes a while, and I think there's a lot of holes on the defense, like a lot. They have a great interior pass rush.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
And that's with losing 2 of the guys they traded last year.
Yeah.
So.
Because they still have Jonathan Allen and Darren Payne.
Yeah, so that can still work.
Still good up front. They got beef up front.
But secondary's never really changed. There's nothing to talk about out there.
Yeah.
So
it may be nice to...
I did have to look up who the actual defensive coordinator is.
Oh, who is it?
Is Joe Witt Jr., who
Don't know.
apparently has been in the league for 18 years.
Okay.
So I don't know where he comes from, but let's remember that Joe Witt Jr. will be the first one to get fired if this defense is not doing well, and not Dan Quinn.
I'm guessing he's a port over from the Cowboys.
Yeah. You said 6.5, though?
6.5.
Oh, man. Oh, that's a good number.
I don't think we've had a disagreement on this one. You want to go over and give us one
I'm going to say...
disagreement?
Yeah, let's go over. I'm going to go over. I'm going to say Jaden Daniels has one good season. This is the year. Makes Cliff Kingsbury look good, and then they will fall apart. Yeah. I just want a good season for Terry McLaurin. I feel so bad for him. He's just one of those receivers. It's just professional. He's awesome. If he was on a good team, he could really be something. And he's just getting his career wasted here in Washington.
That does suck.
So I'm just rooting for a good season from him. And it'd be nice to have Washington back in the race again, because it's been quite a few years since they've actually been competitive in here. Sure, they've made a playoff or 2, but like
at 7 and 9.
Yeah, they've been awful in
some of the bad division years.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they can win at least 7.
Okay,
they can win 7.
All right, well that's good. We only disagreed on one, unlike the AFC East, where we disagreed on all 4.
Everything. Yeah, jeez.
Winner of the division.
Cowboys.
I'm kidding. We ripped the Cowboys.
Dude, seriously, we were harsh.
Full disclosure, we were calling this from the beginning. We were coming over to podcast. I said, Kirk's like, I'm heading on over. F the Cowboys.
Yep. Sorry, I can't help it. I knew they should never have hired Mike McCarthy. All Cowboys fans will know this in a couple years down the road, and they'll be like, yeah, that was pretty dumb.
Why they have him currently is so weird.
I know. He's a yes man. Jerry Jones is just too overbearing.
But is that part of Jerry's flaw? The reason, because Jerry has survived 30 years without like major criticism. He hasn't gotten he's obviously under fire, but he's also gotten a huge buffer from these Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy schlubs who are just taking a pounding on behalf of Jerry Jones in front of him.
Exactly.
I feel like that's part of it.
Yeah, he just likes a nice, good scapegoat.
Yeah.
That's what he wants.
So I guess for winner, we kind of defaulted ourselves to the Eagles.
Unless you want to go Giants. They're above 6.5.
I mean, I did write down that
It's possible.
I could see myself getting hyped to the point.
I know, but
where the Giants are winning the division, but I just can't put that on Daniel Jones. And I mean,
it'd be nice. Last game of the year, Giants Eagles.
That'd be cool.
Week 18. That would be awesome.
I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs on the Giants. Aren't there, and the Eagles have like so many good, like everything we talk about. Maybe with the Giants. All that is, well, that's done with the Eagles. So it's like that contrast. I gotta take Eagles.
I think I'm taking Eagles as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing that's guaranteed: Cowboys ain't gonna win the division. And that's not just because we hate the Cowboys this year. That's because whoever wins the NFC East never repeats as the NFC East champion. Doesn't happen. And you can look back, it's like 2 decades long. It's just never going to happen.
All right. Well, that's science.
So, yeah, I mean, I think Eagles just the most solid team. I mean, I do like the Giants. I think they can be fiddling around for a playoff contention. Yep. Dallas is going to be fiddling around for a playoff contention unless they just completely crash and burn. Yeah, I mean, I like this division. I think it'll be competitive, but I think you're going to see a lot of 500 early on. Mm-hmm. You know, why is my team only 5-4? Why is my team only 6-6? You know, it's just something like that. Except for the Eagles, I can see the Eagles running away with this a little bit. I can see them taking advantage of this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think more on the Giants. How much I believe in the Giants, but for now, I'm saying Eagles.
Yeah, I got to see that offensive line.
Yeah,
I got to see how it works.
Me too. I mean, 2 veteran guards, 2 young tackles. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is the NFC East. We'll be back next week for the AFC West and the NFC West.
All right. Defending champions and
our hometown, Seattle
Seahawks.
All right. My name is Miles.
I'm Kirk.
Good night.